This is definitely not in my job description, Zara Chen muttered, scrolling through the increasingly panicked messages flooding her security tablet. As head of event safety for San Diego Comic-Con, she'd handled everything from rabid fanboys to celebrity meltdowns, but an actual alien war god with diplomatic immunity was a first. She rounded the corner of Hall H and immediately spotted the problem. It wasn't hard. Kro'garr, war deity of the Vesperan Hegemony, stood nearly 8 feet tall with obsidian-plated skin that rippled like liquid metal. Four muscular arms crossed over his chest as he glowered at the line of cosplayers waiting for the Marvel panel. The two Galactic Council representatives flanking him looked like nervous kindergarten teachers on a field trip. Ambassador Kro'garr, Zara said, extending her hand before remembering and quickly converting the gesture into the formal Vesperan salute, right fist to left shoulder. Welcome to Comic-Con. I'm Zara Chen, head of security. Kro'garr's bioluminescent eyes flickered red to yellow. This gathering honors warriors and deities, yet lacks proper blood rights. His voice vibrated at a frequency that made Zara's molars ache. Curious. One of the council representatives, a meridian with translucent skin showing her nervously pulsing organs, leaned toward Zara. Remember the cultural respect mandate, she whispered. The Vesperans joined the council on condition their traditions receive absolute deference when their representatives travel. Zara forced a smile. Of course. It had been only 3 years since first contact, when the Galactic Council revealed itself to Earth with an invitation to join their interstellar community. The catch? The cultural respect mandate, a non-negotiable agreement that Earth would accommodate the traditions of all Council species during diplomatic exchanges. What had seemed like a reasonable request during negotiations now felt like a cosmic practical joke as Zara stared up at an actual war deity expecting proper blood rights at a pop culture convention. Perhaps you'd like a tour of the exhibition hall? Zara offered. I will observe your combat rituals, Kro'garr declared. The council speaks highly of humanity's warrior traditions. Your species' capacity for violence despite your fragility intrigues me. The Meridian representative's liver visibly paled. He's referring to the cosplay battle competition, she clarified quickly. We explained that Comic-Con celebrates fictional combat. Fiction, Kro'garr rumbled, the concept clearly displeasing him. Your species venerates warriors who do not exist. Before Zara could respond, a commotion erupted from the entrance. A group of cosplayers had arrived, led by a figure that made Zara's stomach drop. The costume was unmistakable, obsidian armor, four articulated arms, and LED lights creating the perfect simulation of Vesperan bioluminescence. Someone had created an incredibly detailed Kro'garr cosplay, right down to the sacred war markings that the actual deity standing beside her had earned in what the briefing materials euphemistically called, glorious conquest. Oh no, Zara breathed. The cosplayer, oblivious to the approaching diplomatic incident, posed dramatically for photos. He carried a prop version of Kro'garr's legendary weapon, the Soul Cleaver, though his version was made of foam and LED lights rather than the actual psychically empowered metal that had reportedly cleaved a moon in half during the Vesperan Quantum War. Kro'garr went completely still, his skin hardening from liquid ripples to razor-sharp plates. Explain, he demanded, voice dropping to a subsonic growl that made nearby water bottles vibrate. It's cosplay, Zara said quickly. It's how humans show admiration for, respected figures. The council representatives exchanged alarmed glances. Perhaps we should move to a private area, the Meridian suggested. Too late. The cosplayer had spotted them and was heading directly toward their group, a huge grin visible beneath his expertly crafted mask. He raised 2 of his 4 prosthetic arms in greeting. Dude! Your Kro'garr costume is next level, he called out. The skin texture looks totally real. We should get a photo together for the contest. The real Kro'garr's eyes shifted from yellow to deep crimson. This human mocks me with imperfect simulacrum, he growled. On Vesper, such imitation without bloodright is punishable by ritual disembowelment. Zara stepped between them. This is Devon Park, one of our most accomplished cosplayers, she improvised, having no idea who the man was. Devin, this is, an official Vesperan cultural attaché. Devin's eyes widened behind his mask. Wait, are you? Mr. Park creates tributes to figures he admires, Zara interrupted. It's considered the highest form of respect in human culture. Devin finally caught on, his enthusiasm morphing into dawning horror as he realized he was face to face with the actual being he was dressed as. I spent 6 months researching Vesperan cultural history for this costume, he stammered. The sacred marks, I made sure each one was historically accurate based on the Council's cultural exchange database. Kro'garr leaned forward, inspecting the costume with unnerving intensity. The crowd around them had grown, many filming the interaction, unaware they were witnessing potential interstellar incident. You studied my victories? Kro'garr asked. Devin nodded enthusiastically. The Battle of Quantum Reef? Legendary. I even included the scar pattern from where the Hive Queen's acid blood marked your primary left arm. He pointed to a detailed section of his costume. For a moment, Kro'garr was silent. Then, to everyone's surprise, his eyes shifted to blue, a color Zara hadn't seen in the briefing materials. You honor the sacred marks correctly, he admitted grudgingly. Yet you bear them without having shed blood for their earning. That's what makes it a tribute, Devin explained. I could never actually earn these marks, no human could survive those battles. That's why we create costumes, to honor stories and beings we admire but can never be. The Meridian representative stepped forward. This is the essence of the human tradition called cosplay, High Commander. They create these tributes out of reverence. Kro'garr seemed to consider this. And these gatherings, they are worship rituals. Zara saw her opening. In a way, Comic-Con is a celebration of stories and characters that inspire us. People come from all over the world to honor their favorites. Like a war temple, Kro'garr nodded slowly. Exactly. Zara agreed, thinking it was nothing like a war temple but willing to accept any comparison that wouldn't end in diplomatic catastrophe. Kro'garr's attention returned to Devin. You. Human who wears my form. You will explain this cosplay tradition further. Show me these tributes to other warriors. Devin looked to Zara, who nodded encouragingly. I'd be honored, he said. The cosplay competition starts in an hour, there are some incredible warriors you should see. As Devin led Kro'garr toward the exhibition hall, the alien deity walking with ceremonial stiffness beside the bouncing enthusiasm of his human doppelganger, Zara let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. That was close, the Meridian representative said. The day's still young, Zara replied, already mentally calculating how many potential diplomatic incidents awaited them. A war god at Comic-Con, what could possibly go wrong? Her tablet pinged with a new alert, urgent. Arcturian peace delegation requesting escort to Star Wars panel. Concerned about glorification of planet destruction in fictional works. Zara closed her eyes momentarily. It was going to be a very long weekend. Zara speedwalked through the convention center, dodging a group of stormtroopers and nearly colliding with a life-sized Wall-E. She'd spent the last hour placating the Arcturian peace delegation, who were now happily attending a panel on sustainable world building in science fiction, instead of protesting the Death Star. Her tablet pinged with Devin's location, the main exhibition hall where the cosplay competition was about to begin. She arrived just as the lights dimmed, finding the Meridian representative hovering anxiously near the entrance. How's our guest of honor? Zara asked. Confused but engaged. The Meridian's organs pulsed with uncertainty. He keeps asking if the tributes will battle to the death. On stage, the competition host was warming up the crowd. Welcome to the 2029 Comic-Con International Cosplay Championship. Let's make some noise for our judges. The crowd roared as spotlights illuminated the judges' table, and there, seated between a renowned costume designer and a popular streaming star, was Kro'garr. The alien deity sat rigidly in a chair that looked comically small beneath his massive frame, his expression inscrutable as the audience cheered. Is that? Zara couldn't finish the question. The organizers thought having an actual alien judge would add authenticity, the Meridian explained. We couldn't refuse without violating the cultural respect mandate. Vesperans consider judging combat a sacred honor. Great, Zara muttered. Because what this powder keg needed was a match. The competition began, and to Zara's relief, Kro'garr remained stoic but calm as cosplayers paraded across the stage. His comments, translated through a council device, were surprisingly thoughtful. The small human as the Green Warrior, effective psychological warfare, appearing harmless before striking. This armor would not stop plasma fire, but the craftsmanship honors the warrior it represents. When Devin took the stage in his Kro'garr costume, the audience fell silent, all eyes darting between the cosplayer and the real deity. Devin performed a series of dramatic poses that highlighted the costume's articulation, finishing with a warrior's salute directly to the judge's table. Kro'garr stood abruptly, towering over everyone. The security team tensed, hands moving toward weapons. This tribute knows the sacred forms, Kro'garr announced, his voice reverberating through the hall. I will test his warrior spirit. Before anyone could intervene, Kro'garr vaulted onto the stage with impossible grace for his size. Devin froze as the war deity circled him, inspecting the costume from every angle. Your tribute lacks the soul metal of true armor, Kro'garr declared. Yet you have captured the essence of Vesperan battle regalia. He stopped directly in front of Devin. Why? The question hung in the air. The audience held its collective breath. Zara calculated how quickly she could evacuate the hall if things went sideways. Devin removed his mask, revealing a face shining with nervous sweat but eyes bright with genuine passion. Because you're awesome, he said simply. I grew up reading about legendary warriors and heroes, fictional characters who represented ideals bigger than themselves. When the council revealed that beings like you actually existed, it was like discovering that myths could be real. He gestured to his costume. This is how humans process wonder. We embody it. Kro'garr tilted his head. You wear my likeness to, understand me? To honor what you represent, Devin corrected. Strength, conviction, the willingness to stand for something. On Earth, we've always created stories about powerful beings, gods, heroes, legends. Finding out they're real doesn't make us worship them less, it makes us want to understand them more. A ripple of murmurs swept through the crowd as Kro'garr processed this. The war deity's bioluminescent eyes cycled through colors before settling on a deep violet no one had seen before. Show me, Kro'garr commanded suddenly, show me these other tributes. These, cosplays of your own myths. What followed was perhaps the strangest interlude in Comic-Con history, a procession of cosplayers presenting their creations to an actual alien war god. Captain America's explained the symbolism of their shields. Gundams demonstrated the engineering of their suits. A group of Doctor Who variants debated temporal ethics with increasing enthusiasm while Kro'garr watched with fascination. Through it all, Devin acted as cultural translator, explaining references and contexts that the council briefings had never covered. Zara watched in amazement as the tension in Kro'garr's posture gradually relaxed, his curiosity visibly growing. Your species creates warriors that never existed, Kro'garr observed later as they toured Artist Alley, and then you become them temporarily, without seeking to claim their power permanently. It's called play, explained Devin. Humans use it to explore ideas and identities safely. Play, repeated Kro'garr, as if tasting the word. Vesperans have no equivalent concept. Our young train for battle from emergence. That sounds intense. It is our way. Kro'garr paused before a display of comic books featuring his likeness, unofficial artist interpretations that had sprung up since first contact. These images capture aspects of me I do not recognize. Devin nodded. That's what art does, shows us ourselves from perspectives we can't see. By evening, Word had spread throughout the convention. Attendees flocked to witness the surreal spectacle of Kro'garr examining fan art, asking questions about human mythology, and even, to everyone's shock, attempting to hold a foam replica of Thor's hammer. It is unbalanced for combat, he concluded seriously, but effective as a symbol. As the day's events wound down, Zara found herself in the quiet of the VIP lounge with Kro'garr, Devon, and the increasingly relaxed council representatives. The Meridian was actually sipping a cocktail, her circulatory system glowing a pleased pink. "I must report to the council," Kro'garr announced, his tone impossible to read. The room tensed again. This was the moment. Would humanity be condemned for trivializing a sacred warrior culture, or worse? "I will tell them," Kro'garr continued, "that humans possess a form of combat brilliance the council has not encountered before." "We do?" Zara couldn't help asking. "Your species battles reality itself through this play and fiction. You create opponents worthy of your ideals rather than simply facing those that exist. You fight limitations of form through these costumes. You challenge time by embodying warriors past and future." His eyes flickered with colors. "It is a form of war against the constraints of existence." Devon looked stunned. "I've never thought of cosplay quite like that." "The council believed humans were merely a violence-prone curiosity," Kro'garr continued. "They do not understand that your capacity for fiction, this play, is your greatest weapon and shield. You rehearse 1,000 possible futures while other species simply await the one that comes." He turned to Zara. "I will attend the remaining days of this combat con. I wish to understand more of this human battle strategy." After Kro'garr and the representatives departed for their accommodations, Zara collapsed into a chair beside Devon. "Did an alien war god just call Comic-Con a sophisticated battle preparation ritual?" she asked. Devon grinned. "And he wants to come back tomorrow. Should we tell him about the fantasy RPG tournament, or would that blow his mind entirely?" "Let's save something for day 3, Zara laughed, the tension of the day finally breaking. The next morning, Zara arrived early to find a line of Vesperans outside the convention center, diplomatic attaches according to their credentials, though their eagerness seemed less than professional. Inside, she discovered Kro'garr holding court in the main hall, surrounded by cosplayers and artists, his 4 arms gesturing expressively as he described a Vesperan battle formation to an enthralled audience. More surprisingly, he was wearing a t-shirt, stretched absurdly over his massive frame, bearing the Comic-Con logo and the words, "First Contact 2029, in glittering print. "The council comms have been blowing up all night," the Meridian representative told Zara, looking both exhausted and amused. "The Cultural Exchange Division is calling it the most successful first contact interaction since the Arcturians discovered soap operas." As Zara watched, Kro'garr carefully applied a temporary tattoo to his upper right arm, the Superman symbol. "Is that allowed?" she asked, gesturing to the human icon on the alien deity. The Meridian's organs pulsed with what might have been laughter. "He's claiming it's a form of diplomatic tribute play. No one on the council dares contradict him." Later that day, footage of Kro'garr participating in a lightsaber demonstration went viral across both human and council networks. The following morning, the council issued a formal update to the Cultural Respect Mandate, adding a new clause: "Mutual cultural exchange through artistic representation is encouraged between all species." On the final day of Comic-Con, as Zara supervised the beginning of Teardown, Devon found her with news that the council had created a new diplomatic position, Cultural Play Ambassador, and offered him the role. "They want me to organize similar events on other council worlds," he explained, still looking shell-shocked. "Apparently there's huge interest in human fictional combat ritual attire," after Kro'garr's reports. "Are you going to accept?" Devon smiled. "How could I not? First human to cosplay across the galaxy. That's one for the history books." As they talked, a final announcement came over the convention center speakers. Reminder: tonight's closing ceremony will feature a special performance of human mythological combat forms by war deity Kro'garr. Attendance is expected to reach capacity. Zara shook her head in wonderment. You know, when they said we needed to respect alien traditions, I don't think anyone expected aliens would end up respecting ours. That's the thing about good stories, Devon replied, watching as a group of children excitedly practiced the Vesperan salute nearby. They translate across any boundary, even interstellar ones. That evening, standing at the back of a packed hall, Zara watched as Kro'garr, his obsidian skin now adorned with carefully applied symbols from a dozen human mythologies, demonstrated the Vesperan victory dance while wearing a cape that unmistakably resembled Batman's. The crowd roared its approval. The council representatives looked on in bewildered acceptance. And somewhere in the applause was the sound of something new, a bridge built not by political negotiation or trade agreements, but by the simple human tradition of pretending to be something amazing until the universe caught up to the dream.